You know what Sony had? The Holy Trinity. Leo, Brad, and Marco. Who do you have?
This week, we're celebrating the late Robert Redford by discussing All the President's Men with special guest Michael McAndrew. This is Boy Party. Nothing's writing on this except the First Amendment to the Constitution, freedom of the press, and maybe the future of the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Boy Party, a podcast about movies where two major stars share the screen, do some deep dives into political scandal, and save American freedom forever. My name is Lucien Daily. I'm joined as always by my co-worker, my co-conspirator, there's not really a Hoffman-Redford dynamic here I can reference. Shane Kelly's here.
Good morning.
We are joined, as always, by podcaster and, as always, we are joined once again, he's back after our Glengarry Glen Ross episode, podcaster and academic, Michael McAndrew is here.
Hello.
You're an academic now, Michael.
I am technically an academic.
So you're an expert, and everything you say can be printed in a newspaper as academic expertise.
Primary source.
Academic comments on All the President's Men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This entire podcast is on the record, just so you know.
Yeah, it is.
Very good.
Now, it's going to be hard for me to detach my feelings from this film from the fact that if these guys were in Ireland today, they would be rooting through Catherine Connolly's bins, looking for proof of her buying Labubus to put on the front page. But we'll get to that later. This movie is being covered today because of two reasons. Number one is that Robert Redford is dead. Robert Redford, R.I.P. And number two is that it is the technical winner of our September 16 bracket.
Yeah.
So we launched a mini version of our beloved March Madness contest called the September 16, where we pitched 16 films across the first half of the month of September and let the listeners vote for which one will get covered on the show. And we'll do a very quick recap of how this went in about 2 minutes. So day one, Touch of Evil. The way we did this, folks, is that I split it up by decade.
Yeah.
So every decade we picked two films, and the first 8 days was the first 8 decades, and then we narrowed it down. So day one was two 50s films. Day two was two 60s films. So day one, Touch of Evil and To Catch a Thief tied 50-50, and I think the tiebreaker was me, and I said To Catch a Thief would win. Day two, it was Midnight Cowboy versus Bonnie and Clyde, and Bonnie and Clyde won with 100% of the vote. Sorry to that Dustin Hoffman classic. Day three, Badlands loses to All the President's Men in the 1970s vote. 100% of the vote again there for All the President's Men. Day four, the Blues Brothers defeated the Untouchables, 80% to 20% for the 1980s. Day five, The Silence of the Lambs defeats Girl Interrupted with 100% of the vote for the 1990s. On day six, Zodiac defeats The Prestige with 100% of the vote. Day seven, Little Women defeats Green Book with 100% of the vote. And day eight, May December defeats Red Notice 83 to 17 for the 2020s. We then have Bonnie and Clyde knocking out To Catch a Thief, All the President's Men, and the Blues Brothers tie on day 10. And I believe that I was the tiebreaker there, and I did not want to do the Blues Brothers. I know another favorite of yours, Michael. So All the President's Men proceeded. Then we had Zodiac narrowly defeating The Silence of the Lambs, and May December narrowly defeating Little Women, which I think is the biggest shocker of the entire contest for me, was that May December was just powering through past all of these big movies.
Yeah. So I don't know. People just seen it more recently and we're like,
maybe, but like Little Women, I thought was going to win the whole thing. Then we have All the President's Men beats Bonnie and Clyde 67 to 33. We have May December beats Zodiac 57 to 43. And then the final, All the President's Men and May December tie 50-50. And you and I on the day of were discussing the fact that we'd probably let May December win on a tie break. And then Robert Redford died about 6 hours after that conversation. Isn't that weird?
He did that so we would talk about it.
I think he did. He was like, "Oh, lads, the Boy Party, September 16, gotta swing it for All the President's Men." Because it's very weird coincidence that would happen. That some major act of God would cause us to change our minds about the winner of our sacred bracket.
Yeah.
And here we are today discussing All the President's Men. Welcome to the episode.
So thank you, Robert Redford, for making Michael come to our house.
Yeah, exactly.
When he's busy.
Yeah. So I think that movies about journalists solving things are boring. I think that this movie's boring.
Really?
I think Spotlight's boring. I think Zodiac is boring. I am not proud of this opinion. However, I feel it to be true.
I think most people also agree with you.
But this is considered a classic. And for granted, there's a lot of great stuff in this film. It's by no means without its strengths. It has a couple of great performances, and it looks unbelievable.
Yeah,
But
it does.
I did not find the narrative of this film to be exciting at all.
No.
Maybe part of that is that I am fatigued with political news. Maybe part of it is that the story in this film that they're uncovering, if it, as people say frequently, if it happened today, it would barely be on the news. It would be such a drop in the water of what the current American political situation is
It'd
like.
be called just like one of the president's men. Like,
Yeah, one of the president's men. So this just feels like a real low stakes thing to be resolving in the way I think about political news, which probably says more about me and today than it does about when this film was made.
yeah, like honestly, you can probably conceive of everything that they're being accused of in this film just happening now anyway.
But it would happen now as a given, like, and
Yeah,
and
that's
on
what I
both,
mean,
and
yeah.
the Democrats would do it too.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird, like
With the way technology's going and the smear campaigns, they talk about planting stories in the news.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's-
It's like watching something from like 300 years ago and being like, oh, isn't that nice that they thought that was significant?
Yeah, like a major part of this is there's a newspaper letter,
Yeah.
a note written saying someone who's run for election somewhere said something mean about Canadians.
Yes.
And like that derailed his campaign.
Yes. I think the reason that many people love this film, and I imagine your defense, Michael, will be that the process is very satisfying to watch, right? You love process
Yeah.
and research.
Yeah, and details.
Yes.
It's just like a minimalist sleuthing film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Essentially. Just, just lads just bit by bit going through meticulously and also just completely with the blinders on.
Yeah.
Like nothing, they don't notice anything else
No,
going
not
on
at
in
all.
the world at all.
Yeah.
And the two boys, we'll get into it, but the two boys are just really like so believable as journalists and exactly what you would imagine them to be, at least in my eyes.
It's an interesting film about men at work.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Heat 2 weeks ago, and Heat kind of does introduce the idea that these guys have lives outside of their jobs and that they neglect those lives, that the women in their lives have lost interest, that their children are fucked up. Like there's an idea in that of like the work is a distraction from the private life. This film doesn't even hint at the private lives. It's like it's got no interest. It's like
Not one of them gets a call and it's like, hi honey, when are you home?
yeah, or even
Not a
That's because they don't have any lives.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally, this is all they care about.
yeah, and the way that like the newsroom gets around that, which is obviously a complete work of fiction, is that the characters in the newsroom just have inter-office romances.
Yeah.
So that you can keep things within the newsroom, but you can also have flirty conversations under the desks and in the corners and stuff, which to me makes for a much more enjoyable watch.
I think a big reason why
this
these
is
journalists
true
back
story.
then could just go hell for leather for like a continuous 2 weeks is that they're not looking at screens the entire time.
I know.
Probably helps that you have
Imagine
to.
how much more focused you can be in your research when it's all paper and typewriters and there's no
Yeah.
fucking notifications flashing up in your face.
Although I love the little details where they're trying to have phone conversations in the room, and there's like all sorts of stuff going on. There's
Yes.
people typing, people shouting. They're trying to listen in and there's like multiple phone calls coming in at the same time. Like all of those little details are very interesting as well. So
Yes.
there's still distraction. Like
There is.
But
It's-
you've adjusted to that over the number of years of just that continuous background noise, and it's
yeah.
really like,
The tagline on the poster is "the most devastating detective story of this century," which is a funny way to pitch it because I guess it is. It's a detective movie without a dead body, right? Like it's like a
Yeah.
There's no murder victims, but there is a kind of a sense of wrongdoing. But then what the I guess we have to talk about The Post. 2017 film The Post, which we covered on our second episode of this podcast, and is effectively a prequel to All the President's Men. Like it is to All the President's Men what fucking Rogue One is to Star Wars. It goes right up to the start of this movie,
Yeah.
and has a lot of the same characters in it. The Post, I think, gives you a better, and I don't think The Post is better than this by any means, but The Post gives you a better sense of the stuff in Vietnam and like how the wrongdoing of the American government at the time actually cost lives.
Yeah.
And the human impact and the destruction overseas. And I feel like this film doesn't necessarily give you a sense that like what Nixon has been up to has caused any real tangible harm other than dishonesty.
But yeah, even there's a line before your kind of intro line there, your pun. The line is is Ben Bradley, the
Yes.
editor. He's like, they pulled this shit. 50% of Americans don't know what the Watergate
Half the
is.
country has never even
Half
heard
the country
word
has
Watergate.
never
Nobody
heard the
gives
word
a shit.
Watergate.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit.
Imagine how much worse that would be now.
Yeah.
But yes, like it's it feels like something that only maybe the political and journalistic elite would care about.
Yeah, it's a story that relies on you having faith of the integrity of the institutions of
Yes.
America, which have kind of died in the last.
Yes, there has to be a base
10
level
years.
of trust for shock to happen.
We need to protect this great system we have.
Yeah.
Whereas
even in like 2004, I don't think that this would have been a shocking story in a Bush Iraq era type thing. But there are journalism movies set in the early 2000s that try and get some shock value out
isn't
of
that
this.
what not Inside Man? Is it?
Which one? The
State
Inside?
of Play. State of Play is a-
Play.
I think that's a
fictional,
journalism.
but sure, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're on about real.
I'm
yeah.
trying to think of real cases that have been turned. Because nowadays, there's no films now about. Well, I'm going to think of some examples off the cuff. There's been 2 films about Prince Andrew interviews, right?
Right.
What other real news stories have been turned into films in the last couple of years? There are obviously things integrated into the morning show. There are things integrated into the newsroom.
Yeah.
What other films have there been about?
Well,
There's
see,
a lot of
I cited The Social Network as kind of a modern
Social
version
Network,
of this.
yes. Anything about a tech CEO. So there's the show about Uber with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
There's the Lily James Tinder one. There's the fucking
BlackBerry and-
We Crashed with Jared Leto. But those aren't about journalists. Dark Waters is a great film with Mark Ruffalo, which is about lead water poisoning. But I don't think he's a journalist in that. I think he's like a health investigator of some kind. I don't know.
Journalism is dead.
Journalism is dead.
We call
We have a newspaper here, folks.
We do.
To provide some. Let me rustle the
Some physical noise.
physical noise.
Some ambiance.
We buy newspapers in this house.
It is not the Washington Post.
No, it is the Galway City Tribune, also owned by Jeff Bezos for some reason.
A true institution.
I used to believe in journalism so much. I used to be so enthused about the idea of holding power to account and speaking truth to politicians. And I feel that the journalistic class in this country has let me down somewhat in recent years. If you look at the front page stories, this is just me going on a little rant. If you look at the front page stories published about Catherine Connolly in the last few weeks, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace, claiming that she didn't clap for Zelensky when he was in the doll. She did. You can see it on video. Look into it, folks. Look into it. The truth is out there.
Truth's out there.
Anyway, Woodward and Bernstein, are they both still alive? I think one of them's alive and one of them's dead.
So what? This is set in 70s.
So this movie comes out in 1976.
76, yeah,
And
for a 72
the
event.
book was published in 74.
Yeah.
Watergate happened in 72.
Yeah.
So I guess everything in this movie happens between 4 and 2 years before it was.
Yeah.
made. That's nuts.
It is nuts.
That's so
Yeah.
weird. That's like a film now about COVID, right? Oh, I said to you, I said Dumb Money. That's
Dumb
a
Money.
film that I can think
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that's set similar.
Sorry, that was another element of my Social Network comparison, where that was 2010. The events of
Yes.
Social Network happened in
04
2004.
to 07, probably.
Yeah. Oh, 2006. Yeah, 2000.
Oh, right, okay.
Or yeah, 2005.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty quick turnaround on.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I guess the book was written pretty
Yeah.
immediately.
Yes. Both men are still alive. Carl Bernstein wrote a book about Hillary Clinton in 2007, but Bob has been much more active. He wrote this big Trump book there a few years ago. What was it called? It was called Fear or something. It had like a...
Oh, I know the one.
It had a really...
Some Fury or something. No.
Fury, Fear, bibliography. Let's see. It was called... Oh, he had Rage, Fear. Oh, he had one called Rage. He had one called Fear, and then he had one called War that was published in October last year.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, that is one of the worst covers I've ever seen. So it is bright red. It has the word war in massive white letters, and then it has poorly cropped headshots of Putin, Zelensky, Biden, Kamala Harris, Trump, and Netanyahu across the way, cut off at the neck.
It's
and then Bob Woodward
it's in
underneath
tabloid
blue.
magazine.
It's the
color
ugliest
scheme.
book cover I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like a
Oh
Phoenix
my God.
magazine piece or something.
Oh my God. Yeah, it looks like the Phoenix magazine. A great bastion of Irish journalism. So these guys are still around. Is that so weird that Robert Redford outlived the actor who played them in the film?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Wasn't the story that like Woodward was on some local stuff and they thought it was the local office that got broken into?
Right.
Oh.
And so they sent him in on the scene, but then it turned out it was actually the
DNC.
National, the DNC. And that's how he sort of first got on it and then somehow co-opted Bernstein.
Yes.
So he probably wouldn't have been assigned to that story if he
Correct.
just hadn't been there. Okay.
Yeah, because they were two young lads, like,
Yeah.
you know, and there was way more, experienced political reporters in the Post who would have gone on it otherwise.
Hoffman's given Luke Shanahan a bit in this.
Oh yeah.
I think so. In his size and
Oh,
frame.
I thought he was giving Colin Farrell and Home for the End of the World.
Maybe a little
I
bit
just
as
thought
well.
the hair was exceptional.
Perhaps. Redford was like personally invested in this being turned into a film. I think he was pursuing the rights.
So
to the
he
book.
bought it.
Yes,
right?
and he gets it produced through his company by a producer called Walter Koblenz. But the film, really weirdly, at the start says a film by Robert Redford and Alan J. Pakula. But Robert Redford did not direct this film. He did not co-direct this film. He doesn't have a writing credit. He doesn't have a producing credit. That's so weird.
Yeah.
So Redford wrote something or said something a couple of years ago where he was like, yeah, William Goldman's script was good and all, but me and Pakula actually rewrote most of the script, and it ended up being a lot of our writing and our work, and I actually had a lot of authorial involvement in this. And then somebody like fact-checked him on that and was able to find William Goldman's manuscripts, and they all had like notations on them, and I think that what Redford was saying just like wasn't true. And like William Goldman wrote a very famous book about his career, and I believe that maybe Redford wasn't a fan of how he was depicted in the book, and Redford was just kind of talking shit later in life after Goldman died to try and like get back at him or something.
Well, he obviously had enough
seems kind of-
influence over it at the time that he did get that kind of opening credit.
Well, sure, but that's because he was famous and handsome, you know? Like, I think Robert Redford had a lot of sway, but I don't know if Robert Redford, like, wrote the movie. Like, I think if there's physical proof of Goldman's
original
authorship,
script. Yeah.
I think then that makes Redford look a bit petty that he started to kind of talk shit about that. But anyway, Redford's obviously very involved in getting this film off the ground. In terms of the billing, we have a Redford / Hoffman on this fantastic poster. And then on the credits of the movie, it's Hoffman first, Redford second. And this was something that they had negotiated and agreed, which is a lot of fun. This movie had an R rating because of swearing.
Really?
Which they said it would have gotten a G if it didn't have swearing in it. They went and appealed, and it was...
Because of Deep Throat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it was
shit.
reclassified to a PG. There was no PG-13 until 1984. So they reclassified it as a PG after an appeal, but it still has multiple fucks in it. Now, we literally talked last week about how A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey was unnecessarily full of fucks and was rated 15 as a result.
I didn't pick up on any of the swearing in this.
Oh,
at
I
all.
did. I was
you?
like, because I heard a fuck and I went, oh, you don't normally hear swearing in a 70s film with movie stars. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why they felt they needed to leave that in, but all right.
Maybe Mr. Woodward and Mr. Bernstein were like in their book. Oh, we swear a lot.
Yes, maybe.
Journalists.
Is Catherine Graham in this film? So she's the publisher of the Post, who's played by Meryl Streep, obviously in the Post, film The Post. No, she's not.
No.
She's not.
Okay, so
it's
they
just
had-
Ben Bradley.
So Ben Bradley, the real Ben Bradley, wanted to be played by George C. Scott and was unimpressed when Jason Robards visited the Post offices to develop a feel for the newsroom. In advance of the shoot, Bradley told Robards, "Just don't make me look like an asshole." Other people considered to play Ben Bradley: Henry Fonda, Gene Hackman, Burt Lancaster, Robert Mitchum, Telly Savalas.
This is just Ben Bradley's wish list.
Yeah,
like.
Leslie Nielsen, Hal Holbrook, who plays Deep Throat,
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer, Anthony Quinn, Carl Malden. What a list. Character actor Martin Balsam plays managing editor Howard Simons. According to Bradley, Simons felt that his involvement with the real story was greatly diminished in the script. But I think Martin Balsam's in this a lot. So Martin Balsam is the guy from 12 Angry Men and Psycho who looks like his name is Martin Balsam. He, the guy with the real like froggy face. He is an Oscar winner a couple of years before this for another movie with Jason Robards, 1,000 Clowns, which is a great film. I think that character is very significant in this film. I think that I don't think his role seems like I don't think it seems like a non-integral part in the story. Anyway, the point I was getting to is that Bradley teased Catherine Graham about who would play her in the film, suggesting names like Katharine Hepburn, Lauren Bacall, and Patricia Neal to make her feel good. And then her role was dropped from the final script to her relief. But I wonder how Bradley and Graham would feel about having been played years later by Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, which is really the highest honor you can give a
I don't
person.
know, did Tom Hanks make him look like an asshole?
No.
No.
Tom Hanks's performance in The Post is very wishy, like nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, he's real, just like, I'm Tom Hanks and I'm nice. I think Jason Robards has like a million times more personality
Oh,
in
100%.
this, where you're like, this guy is like fucking careful, but also like a hound dog who wants to pounce on the story, but he's like, he's navigating the instinct to be conservative about it and wanting
this calculated risk
Yeah.
taker, and
where
He's very supportive in general, though. Like his little "we stand by our boys" note.
Yes.
And,
and then harsh when he needs to
Yeah.
be, and be like, no, the story's not here.
Yeah.
if you get this wrong again, I'll be very mad.
Yeah. Whereas I really think the dynamic in The Post is very one-dimensional, where she is like, "Oh, I'm a very serious lady, and I'm considering my options," and then Tom Hanks is like, "Catherine, just publish the story." It's like, Woodward and Bernstein don't appear in The Post. Am I right? Like, why?
I think they might.
They're not played by like anyone
No.
notable. Let me have a look. Because
I think they might pop.
Post is set in 71, and it ends with the final scene of The Post,
I
which
guess
is
Woodward probably wouldn't have been there yet, right? He was only there
He
like
was
less than
only
a
a junior
No.
guy, yeah.
But
Woodward's
Bernstein
not.
probably would have been there.
Burns. No one plays
Okay.
either of them in it.
Okay,
But Woodward did come out and say he thought that the Post was a masterpiece. Wonderful.
yes.
There's not Daniel Ellsberg. Is he in this film? Is he a character in this film? All the President's Men. Who plays Daniel Ellsberg?
believe so.
No, he's not. I'm very bad at this.
Huh.
That's who Matthew Rhys plays in The Post. I don't know. Anyway, The Post is about different stuff. That's about the Pentagon
Yep.
Papers. Crazy that there was 2 scandals back to back worth making movies on, and Nixon was just
Now, who
hanging out.
plays Woodward and Bernstein in Dick?
Oh, good question.
We covered Dick like 2 months ago.
This is our 3rd Watergate movie we've done on this podcast. It's so weird.
I still don't really know much about Watergate because, like, when you look up the actual details of it, it's not that interesting.
But it's not that interesting.
No.
It just seemed interesting because everything was real boring in the 60s.
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
was boring.
Everything
in the
was
60s.
boring
They were
in the
literally
60s,
killing
70s.
millions of people in Vietnam. Woodward and Bernstein are played by Will Ferrell and Bruce McCulloch. Oh, there you go. So Will Ferrell plays Woodward. Dick's really good. You'd like it. It's like a teen girl comedy about Watergate.
It turns out
Oh,
the
that's
2 young girls are actually Deep Throat, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Because they didn't know at the time who Deep Throat was, so
Yes.
it's 2 girls who kind of accidentally get mixed up and
They
end up-
wander in by accident and they end up as Nixon's dog walkers.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Kirsten
yeah.
Dunst, Michelle Williams.
quite
It's good
funny.
fun.
Do they witness Watergate happening?
Yeah,
I think they do.
Yeah. So Harry Shearer runs into them in the hall.
Yeah.
We didn't find out who Deep Throat was until pretty recently, right?
2005.
Okay.
So
So
then-
post
Some
post
FBI guy, right?
post Dick
Yeah,
even.
and there
yeah.
was a film called Mark. This is one of the worst titles ever, where Neeson plays Deep Throat, and this movie is called Mark Felt: The Man Who Brought Down the White House. Terrible fucking name. Now, there's obviously a legal reason why they couldn't just call the film Deep Throat, because there's already like a whatever.
the search
Erotic
engine the
film.
search engine optimization there. It'll be
There is a
pretty
famous
pretty
erotic
dreadful.
film called Deep Throat, and I believe that the man
yeah.
Deep Throat was named after the film
Yeah.
Deep Throat. Why is
Yes,
it
he
called Deep
was.
Throat?
Why couldn't they just call it The Man Who Brought Down America?
It was.
Yeah.
It was some joke anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's funny that the committee to re-elect the president is called Creep. That's pretty
That's
funny.
what that.
They were
yeah.
creeping around.
That's
They
so
were
funny.
literally creeping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
So,
like
yeah.
slight issue I have with this is that Deep Throat knows all the answers the entire time,
But he
and
just
it's
chooses to
yeah.
divvy them out. Yeah.
We're like,
You
all right,
have-
it's
Deep-
like an escape room,
Yes.
guys. I'm giving you
Deep
the
Throat
clues.
seems very fake. He
Yeah.
seems like something that they made up. That
Yeah.
like, we went to a car park and there was a mystery man, but he only told me one thing, and then he told
But
me
again, it
another
was the
thing.
70s.
They're
Nothing interesting was
lying.
And I
happening, so-
think, but I do think that they took some good few liberties in the film as
I
well. With,
imagine
like what he
so.
said, like he never said follow the money comes from this film, right? Like,
guess
just
so.
like the term, I guess.
Sure.
And, and they
Okay.
wrote that in, but he never. I don't think Felt ever said it. Like,
Is that what follow the money means, though? Does follow the money mean like look where the money came from and that's your answer?
No, follow the money means any motive is backed by money. Like people only do.
Yeah, fair.
Like that's kind of the idea of
Yeah.
that.
Fair enough.
so they wrote that in. They wrote that line in for him.
Yeah, if you want to find out who's doing the bad thing, see who's getting the money out of it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, all the deep throat stuff is like the best part of the movie, in my opinion, because I just don't find the journalism stuff interesting. So I'm like, oh, the car park stuff's pretty cool. And this film is shot by Gordon Willis, who shot The Godfather and is one of the greatest cinematographers of all time. And the scene with Redford at the end where the car speeds away, Deep Throat vanishes into the shadows, and then there's a fucking insane faraway shot of Redford like walking down the staircase of the car park, and then this tracking shot of him like walking down the street looking around all paranoid. That's the shit I like. That is what Pakula is so good at. His other movies, which are like proper thrillers, have so much of that stuff in them that I love. And like 90% of this film is just guys in offices.
There's some great shots in this of people standing in the distance having a conversation, but you hear the audio as if you're standing beside them.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Robert Altman shit, which is great.
Yeah.
There's also incredible like split diopter shots. There's a lot of stuff with the TV on the left in the foreground.
The one where so Woodward writes this at the beginning of the film. Woodward writes his piece. He puts it in the thing, and you can see Bernstein going over, picking it up, giving it a read.
That's amazing.
Making his little edits, and he's just watching. Oh, it's just perfect.
It's great.
Shot,
so good.
You know?
And I read something that said that this film's very anti-TV news. It kind of keeps showing you the contrast between the newspaper reporting the truth, holding Nixon to account, and then in the foreground you have TV news being like,
because TV
ignore it, it's all made up.
Yeah, TV just presents sources as they are. So they'll show the interviews with the politicians. They'll show the politicians getting their chance to speak and answer it without being checked, I guess. Yeah,
I suppose. It's interesting.
It's more of a medium for the voice of, I guess, the bad people.
I think TV news is generally quite bad, but I wouldn't argue in today's world that TV news in America is like significantly worse than newspapers. I would say that like they're both owned by sinister sources. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you'll find the sources that you trust anyway. Like, regardless of
like, is there any TV channel? Is there any newspaper in America now that's more trustworthy than the most trustworthy TV channels? I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe the New York Times is trustworthy. It's just got a certain angle on stuff like Israel that makes me as an Irish leftist balk at it. I don't know.
Yeah, they have to pander to the Times.
Yeah, it's weird. The Post being the one now that's owned by an evil billionaire is frustrating when you look at its history, because you're like, the Washington Post was the one in the two movies about how great the Washington Post was. If Spielberg likes the Washington Post so much that he made the Post, would he not have bought the Post before Bezos could? Like, he's a billionaire too. I don't know. Just feels like there's a lot of wealthy people who love these newspapers and their history who have kind of sat around doing nothing while they become like right-wing propaganda papers. I don't really pay attention to the Washington Post and how bad it is as like a propaganda paper. I assume it's pretty bad.
Like, we only see evidence of it when someone posts a screenshot. Look how bad this is on Twitter.
We're not even looking at the front pages every day because we're not living in the US. But yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, for what it's worth, the news world in Ireland is nowhere near this bad. At least we're like, as in there's bad journalism, but at least our national newspapers aren't owned by like these particular fellows. I don't
actually know who owns the newspapers.
Well, the Irish Independent is owned by the Belgians.
Oh, yes.
And the Irish Times is owned within Ireland by the Irish Times Trust.
Yeah.
Who now also own RIP.ie, our most important news source. I just made all the President's Men about RIP.ie.
Yeah, they did that now to cover something up.
Yes, exactly.
Why do they buy RIP.ie? They want to hide someone's death.
Yeah.
There's good money in death.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
the
only acting...
Follow the money, yeah.
Speaking of death, Robert Redford.
RIP.ie, Robert Redford.
Yes. The only acting nominations this film gets are, weirdly, supporting actor Jason Robards, who wins one of his 2 Oscars, and supporting actress for Jane Alexander. I don't know if that's an Oscar caliber performance. I feel like they were maybe a little light on supporting actresses that year. Like, she's pretty good, but like, she's only in 3 scenes. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's an amazing.
Is she the person they go to her house?
She's the only woman who has anything significant to do in this film.
I don't know. That's a bit tenuous.
Do you know who she loses to? You know what this comes out the same year as? Network.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, if you compare,
this is the TV versus the newspaper.
Yes. If you compare these 2 journalism movies, and we've obviously covered Network on this podcast, and Network is very satirical, and Network is not pitched straight. It's very silly and satirical. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's no comparison, in my opinion, between those 2 films.
I know, but I think
Network is so sharp and so exciting.
This is a good comparison to, like, like they represent their medium well through what the film is like.
TV's
TV is hysterical, exciting,
boring,
and fantastical, and all this, and reading newspapers is kind of dull and boring.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, Jane Alexander loses the Oscar to Beatrice Straight in Network, which is the William Holden's wife, which is like one of the funniest Oscar wins.
She's
one scene, which is absolutely incredible, and she wins. Robards beats Ned Beatty in Network, who is also in All the President's Men.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. You see Network?
Yes, but a while ago now.
You know the guy in Network who gets up at the table at the end of the long desk and starts bellowing at Peter Finch. Like, there's a lot of Network in One Battle After Another.
There's bits there. Yeah, there's bits.
I think all this bits in One Battle After Another with Sean Penn and you got to see One Battle After Another, Michael. The next free day you have, it's fucking fantastic.
Okay.
All the scenes with the Christmas adventurers have a lot of Network to them.
Yeah,
and Network has stuff about black revolutionaries in it and stuff. I think there's a lot.
It does. Yeah, where the Black Panthers come on.
And then the Best Actor, Best Actress winners that year are Peter Finch and Faye Dunaway. And William Holden's also nominated for Best Actor, and Sylvester Stallone in Rocky, and Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. Okay, I see how there wasn't room for the two boys from All the President's Men.
Yeah,
who I would argue are good, but maybe not the best work of their careers. Like, there's just not a lot of acting to be done.
Sure, but there's a lot to be said for keeping something pretty entertaining for 2 hours and 15 minutes by not doing a whole lot.
Oh, of course. There's no one I'd rather be in this. They had apparently thought about Pacino for the Hoffman role, but I would that's not correct. Like, I mean, if the guy is anything like Dustin Hoffman, you should not have cast Al Pacino.
Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world for a character's entire bit to be. Can I hold on here a minute and ask you a few more questions?
Sure.
And
you're right.
You're happy to see them sit around and ask a few more questions.
It's really good acting. I don't think they should be in the same conversation as Taxi Driver and Network for great performances. And like Redford and Hoffman have both given.
I don't know. This film gets enough credit for what it is.
Yes.
And
it's nominated for Best Picture and loses to Network and Taxi Driver and All the President's Men. They all lose Best Picture to Rocky.
Really?
And Rocky wins Best Director. I couldn't in a million years have told you who directed Rocky. John Avildsen. Who the fuck is that? Well, he beats Pakula, Bergman, Lumet, and another person. What was I going to say about Redford and Hoffman in this? Yeah, so Robert Redford never won an Oscar for acting. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. He won Best Director and Best Picture for Ordinary People, which is a great film that he directed, but he's not in it. And that's just outrageous. And there was multiple opportunities to do it in the last 15 years as well of his life, because you had, first of all Is Lost in 2013, which is a bit of a snooze, but is a film about him on a boat by himself. The whole film is just him surviving on a tiny boat in a storm. It's a bit dull, but he's very good in it, and he's a very engaging one-man show. And I remember when I was, 15, being like, they should give Robert Redford an Oscar for this. It's great. He's on a boat. And then 3 years after that, he comes out with his final leading role, which is The Old Man and the Gun, which is a fantastic David Lowery movie, which I love, which is the most perfect give this guy an Oscar before he dies role ever. It's like this lovely, old-fashioned bank robber comedy drama. Now, it's not there's not a lot of big emotional acting in it, but it's Robert Redford being lovely and charming, and they could have given him an Oscar. I mean, Best Actor that year was Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know.
I'm not sure if it was strong enough as a film.
Maybe
it was a nice watch.
It's a charming film.
It's a charming little.
I know, you're right. It's not oh my god, look what he's doing here.
Yeah.
But it just would have been nice to be Robert Redford. Let's let's throw him one before he dies. I don't know.
Yeah,
I see both sides of it. And then, of course, Robert Redford's actual final film comes out 6 months after The Old Man and the Gun, which is his appearance in Avengers Endgame.
Oh, yay.
Now, he's in 2 Marvel movies. He's obviously in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And the character poster for Captain America, the Winter Soldier is a picture of Robert Redford with his arms folded, standing in front of a big window, and in big writing above his head, it just says Alexander Pierce, which is the name of the character, but it doesn't say Robert Redford anywhere. And Alexander Pierce, not a famous character. This is not Iron Man. This is Alexander Pierce. I remember this poster on its own being on a bus shelter on Threadneedle Road in Galway, about halfway down the hill towards Salt Hill, and me just being like, it is so funny, if you don't know anything about this movie or about Marvel, to drive past a big bus poster with a picture of Robert Redford that just says Alexander Pierce, and to be like, What? That's Robert Redford. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. Surely it should say Robert Redford is Alexander Pierce.
Looks like a Hulu show.
Yeah, it does look like a Hulu show. That film looks like a Hulu show.
Alexander Pierce Hulu show.
Yes. So the Russo brothers, in an incredible case of director bullshit. In fact, I would argue the piece of work that coined the idea of director bullshit. Cast Robert Redford in The Winter Soldier, and they go, "This is our homage to 70s Pakula movies," because The Winter Soldier is like a, Washington
espionage
DC espionage thriller. It's not. It's a superhero movie about guys punching each other. But anyway, they cast Redford, and that film is trying to be reminiscent of some of the Pakula movies, to like Parallax View and what's the other big one with Redford that I'm forgetting? There's a few anyway, which is like, guys on the phone. All the President's Men to some extent. Yeah. Guys on the phone being like, "Did you hear about this?" But Winter Soldier is whatever, Marvel slop. But Robert Redford's in 3 scenes. He turns out to be the villain. Hooray! That's the end of it. He gets killed off, and then he comes back in The Winter Soldier, and I think he just like hands a briefcase to Robert Downey, and then he runs off or something. And I remember he showed up in Avengers Endgame, and me being like, "No, your last film was meant to be Old Man of the Gun. Fuck, this is gonna ruin your IMDb." And then when he died last week, everyone was like having that same reaction of like checking what his last film was and being like, "No,
Robert Red Hulk."
Like, yes, Robert Red Hulk. But it is kind of, as much as we can see the negative side of it, it is kind of iconic for your last film to be the highest grossing film of all time.
It would be much cooler if he was in Avatar.
It would be cooler if he was in Avatar. Oh, Robert Redford and fucking the Stephen Lang part in Avatar. Oh, I'd be sick. Robert Redford as Quaritch. But yeah.
Redford as a blue man.
Yes. But it is cool for like Robert Redford, who is one of the great icons of American film, to have ended his career being seen by the most eyeballs that could physically see you in a film, There's a fun post All the President's Men handover in the fact that he's in the movie Lions for Lambs with Meryl Streep. I think he's in multiple films with Meryl Streep. He's in Out of Africa with Meryl Streep. Like, Meryl Streep is quite younger than Robert Redford, but weirdly is cast opposite him as a love interest a number of times throughout their careers. Because I guess the 15 or 20 years that exists between them is sort of negligible in Hollywood terms. Robert Redford always looked younger than he was, and Meryl Streep always looked older than she was. I saw Out of Africa years ago on TV. It's a real just like white people hanging out in Africa. Like, it's got a bit of kind of, it's trying to be Lawrence of Arabia, like, look at these incredible landscapes. I think it's fine. It's a Sidney Pollack film. 3 Days of the Condor. That's the other one. I don't know if Pakula directed 3 Days of the Condor. That might have actually been that's a Sidney Pollack film. That's the other one that the Winter Soldier was trying to pastiche. That's Redford as a CIA guy on the run. Then they made a TV show called Condor. And who did they cast in the Robert Redford role? Max Irons, son of Jeremy Irons. When All the President's Men is made, Redford is coming off of a run of incredible hits, such as beloved film that we covered on this podcast, Barefoot in the Park, with Jane Fonda, first of 3 collaborations with Jane Fonda. You can go back and listen to our episode about that. Weirdly, one of our 5 most popular episodes ever of this podcast, Barefoot in the Park. I can't explain why. Weird. Great title for a movie he's in. Tell Them Willie Boy is Here. Haven't seen it. Great name. Jeremiah Johnston. The Candidate, which I watched about The Candidate last year just before the U.S. election because everyone said it was a great political satire, and I did not find it funny, but I know a lot of people who love it. The Way We Were, I watched again the other night. That's him and Streisand, and it's like real sentimental. Have you seen The Way We Were? It's a real just like, the good old days 5 years ago, and you're like, oh, this film was built to be watched 50 years in the future for boomers to go, the good old days. It's got a bit of Forrest Gump to it. I found it kind of gross and annoying. The Sting, which is kind of boring but is pretty good, like him and Newman just like pulling pranks on people, and then obviously Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, which is him and Newman as like the great sexy duo out doing their bits. He's in a version
childhood favorite of mine.
Yeah,
really.
It's got Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head in it. I watched it for the first time about a year ago.
It's Michael inviting himself back on the podcast.
Yeah,
to do that. I haven't watched it in years, but yeah,
we're getting all our Redford out of our system here. He does a version of Gatsby with Mia Farrow in '74. And then this is in 76. And then he does another movie with Jane Fonda, The Electric Horseman, in 79, which has one of the great posters that I love, which is just him, like, carrying Jane Fonda, like, face down.
Oh, upside down.
And it just says, Electric. The name of the film is, like, really small down the bottom. Nice. Great poster. What else you got in here? You got stuff I hadn't seen, like Brubaker, The Natural. I mean, Robert Redford, compared to his best pal, Paul Newman, the ratio of, like, actual 5-star films in here isn't fantastic. But there's a few at the top that are great classics, and then he's in a lot of weird stuff. Peter McGann mentioned the remake of Casablanca that he was in, Havana, on our episode a few weeks ago, which I haven't seen, which I must check out. He then kind of between the 80s and the 90s just starts looking a bit older and starts doing like middle-aged man movies, like Sneakers, A River Runs Through It. Indecent Sneakers feels like a Michael McAndrew favorite.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. No. It looks like something you'd like.
Sneakers as in shoes, or sneakers as in guys sneaking
around?
No,
it's Dan Aykroyd.
I am lying. I have seen it.
It just gives me the sense of something you'd like.
Yeah.
It looks like a DVD cover that would be in your house in Galway.
Mm-hmm. My dad definitely has it on DVD.
Yeah, 100%. He directs A River Runs Through It, has Brad Pitt in it, and also Brenda Blethyn. And when I met Brenda Blethyn in July and we did a Q&A with her for work, she was talking about Robert Redford and how the most her mother had ever been proud of her as an actor was when she rang up her mother and said she was going to be in a Robert Redford movie, which is nice. He's in a movie called Indecent Proposal, which has a really funny, sexy poster where... Look at this. Someone who looks like Dua Lipa is kissing Woody Harrelson, and then there's like a paper...
sorry, I did not see the left side of that.
There's a rip of paper along the edge, and Robert Redford's peeking through.
I completely missed the Robert Redford.
I need to watch that.
Initially, I thought that was just the border of the poster.
Adrian Lyne film? I need to watch that. Who's the woman? Is that Demi Moore? I think it's probably Demi Moore.
Sure.
We'll never know. And then he becomes, more old guy movies. Spy Game, The Last Castle. Brad Pitt works with him a couple times because Brad Pitt obviously wants to be perceived as the heir to the Redford thing. Lions for Lambs.
Has Brad Pitt ever played a journalist?
Has Brad Pitt ever played a journalist?
No, he can't.
No.
He's too...
I don't know, though. Brad Pitt's played, like, scruffy, dirty guys in a few things. Like, in Seven, he's, like... Detective.
I know, but it's...
Detective! It's my Kevin Spacey impression. I don't know.
I feel like journalists in films are kind of depicted sometimes as guys who are too nerdy to be cops.
Yes, maybe.
So
maybe Brad Pitt's just... But if Robert Redford could play a journalist, Brad Pitt can play a journalist. Surely they're operating along the same lines.
Brad Pitt's too wide. I don't know.
Maybe. There's a weird film I watched the other day that he directs and stars in. It's the final film he directed called The Company You Keep in 2012, which was brought up a few weeks ago because it has some common story stuff to One Battle After Another. It's about a former weather underground revolutionary who gets caught now in his 70s and he goes on the run. And it's got an insane cast, which is Robert Redford, Shia LaBeouf, Brendan Gleeson, Nick Nolte, Terrence Howard, Susan Sarandon, Chris Cooper, Stanley Tucci, Richard Jenkins, Anna Kendrick, Britt Marling, Sam Elliott, Stephen Root, and Julie Christie. It's okay, but it's kind of worth watching for all the people that are in it. But it's Robert Redford being like quite old, but like being like action hero in whatever way he can come up with. And then all is lost. Captain America, Walk in the Woods. He's in a movie called Truth with Cate Blanchett, which is another journalism drama where he plays, I believe, Dan Rather, one of the big newsmen anyway, and that's set in the 70s or the 80s. David Lowery casts him in the Pete's Dragon remake as the Mickey Rooney character from the original, and he reunites with Jane Fonda in Our Souls at Night, and then he retires as your Robert Redford. Any other Robert Redford films that you're fond of, Michael? Mainly Butch Cassidy,
and
Avengers.
I barely remembered that I had seen Sneakers. No, I think they're kind of the main ones for me.
Is he the most handsome man we've ever talked about in this podcast, or Paul Newman?
Paul Newman's up there.
Paul Newman's up there.
Incredibly well dressed in this. Such a cool array of office
and they've got the
business
ties,
casual.
The ties slightly down, you know.
Yeah. It's like wide ties, big lapels on the jackets.
Yeah.
But there's a
Like
significant
flared trousers.
Yes.
There's a
so
significant 20% gap between how well put together Redford is and Hoffman, though. Like where Hoffman's just like 20% more kind of scruffy and unkempt.
Yeah,
it's just a tiny bit.
It's a lovely detail.
Yeah, it adds a lot.
Because Bernstein had been there for a good while, and he was
Yes.
nearly out the door, wasn't he? Like
I
they were
guess.
kind of at the beginning. They were kind of like alluding that he was to the fact that he was a bit of a you know.
Yes.
Robert Redford's just going around with his long legs, doing his Margaret Qualley honey don't thing, like just
Sure.
high-waisted trousers.
Yes. Yes, we need more films that are voyeuristic towards men like Robert Redford. Trying to think of any other elements of this I wanted to discuss.
All-time epilogue.
Oh, sure.
Basically, the film concludes with they don't get them.
Yeah.
Their investigations are kind of fruitless and they don't take down the Nixon administration.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to a typewriter where it just seems to type out the next couple of months worth of headlines, I guess, or the start of an article where it's like Washington Post, ... something of September.
Yes.
Nixon caught on tape. Then it moves on to the next story, and Nixon resigns eventually. Or sorry, Nixon refuses. Nixon says he's not going to resign. Then it cuts to the next one, and it's Nixon resigns.
Yes.
It's great.
It's great.
It is
I love it.
fantastic.
I think it's really excellent.
A perfect ending to a film that's about literally just about the tiniest of details in this, in this process where it ends not with a result.
Yes, absolutely.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's like it concludes exactly what it's trying to say.
Yeah, but it's also it's a funny way to see the epilogue of a film, because like, oh, that's how you would have experienced the entire film if you were not tagging along with two boys.
True.
Through headlines and single lines, and you're like, oh yeah, Nixon gone. Fair enough.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about Dustin Hoffman because we talked about him on the Runaway Jury episode.
Yeah.
I know it's the format of the podcast that I should still list his entire filmography again, but I don't think anyone wants to hear that.
No. We'll ask Michael about his relationship with Dustin Hoffman.
What are Dustin Hoffman films you like?
It's very few. Honestly, like I've seen very few Dustin Hoffman.
Have you seen Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium?
No.
He's so fucking good at Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. You got to watch it. There's a Wonder Emporium, and it's run by this guy. You're never
not to be confused with the one on O'Connell Street.
Yeah, you're never going to believe this. By a guy called Mr. Megorium, and he's dying, and he wants to give it to his employee, Natalie Portman. But then the accountant shows up, plays by Jason Bateman, and he's like, wait just a second, this Wonder Emporium has been losing money for years. And that's the movie. It's so good. He's so good in it. He's kind of soft canceled now, but he has a film coming out this year. Yeah, we'll mention this. He has a film coming out this year that is apparently a good comeback role for him. He's very old. Like, Dustin Hoffman's 90 now. Is he 91? He's a very old man.
Jeez.
Sorry, 88. But he's very old. And he hasn't been in like a studio film since the Meyerowitz Stories, unless you count Megalopolis, which he's terrible in. But he's got this movie coming out called Tuner with Leo Woodall, where he plays an old piano tuner. And it premiered at one of the festivals recently, and it's described as a crime thriller mixed with rom-com elements. Oh, it's a piano tuner turned safecracker. And apparently he's very good in it. I don't know.
A piano tuner turns.
Yeah, because he's got a good sense of sound. Yeah,
the locks clicking.
That's so funny.
So I think we might be on the verge of a couple of Hoffman. I think people are like willing to kind of just like not worry too much about the bad things he's done because he's so old that it's just kind of like, I don't know, Dustin Hoffman. Will we squeeze a bit more out of Dustin Hoffman while he's still around?
Yeah,
I would say like let's get some more Dustin Hoffman performances. Like, he is one of the greatest actors of all time. But yeah, we'll talk about him again on the show at some point. Hopefully he survives long
hopefully
enough.
we're not talking about him because he dies.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing the top 4 game now, Letterboxd top 4 game with celebrities. Mm-hmm. So who do you want to guess the top 4 of who has All the President's Men in their top 4? George Clooney, Nathan Lane, or Jason Bateman?
I think I went through the George Clooney one the other day with you. Did we guess them all?
Oh, I think we did.
We
do the Jason Bateman?
Do Jason Bateman.
Right. So, Michael, this is the game where we're gonna get you to guess what are Jason Bateman's other favorite films, along with All the President's Men. I will give clues.
He wouldn't be picking them.
All the President's Men is in Bateman's
exactly.
top 4.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Here's a fun fact. Bateman does this list on the junket for Air. Guess who he's paired with at the junket for Air. There's two guys from the cast of Air at this junket.
It's probably not Matt and Ben.
No. You'd like Air.
Chris Messina or...
Chris Messina, correct.
Yes.
We may as well read out Chris Messina's top 4 while we're at it.
Sure.
So Chris Messina's top 4 is Big, Ghost, Marley and Me, and, speaking of Robert Redford, The Sting. That's a terrible top 4.
Jesus.
What? That's crazy.
Maybe I don't like Chris Messina.
We do like Chris Messina.
God, I'm gonna be so bad at this game. Like, I couldn't even be. I don't even know where to begin.
You'll get lots of clues.
So Bateman actually gives 7 favorite films. Oh, fuck off, Bateman. So we're gonna reduce that down to
the top 4.
To the
main 4.
Well, we'll name any 4.
Yeah.
And is President's Men, where is it on the list?
He gives it 6th.
Okay.
We're just gonna guess any 4. So I'll give some clues. We have a 1990s classic crime movie. It is by one of the great directors. It is a Best Actress Oscar-winning performance set in a rural area of the United States. perhaps the title of the film references.
Fargo.
Ding, ding, ding.
There we go.
Right. We have 1970s movie with a lot of cigarette smoke on the poster. Also named after a location.
Cigarette smoke.
There's a lot of water stuff in this. The director of this film is a criminal. It was not allowed in the United States.
Polanski?
Correct. Polanski?
Chinatown.
Well done.
I don't know the Chinatown poster, actually.
What?
I don't think I know.
It's like a yellow and lots of smoke. And Faye Dunaway's face is floating in the thing. Sure. Now, Jason Bateman's 7th or 8th film he names, I must shout out, is Pakula's Clute, which is an incredible film with recently departed Donald Sutherland and Jane Fonda, which everyone should go watch. It is my favorite Pakula film. It's so atmospheric. It's so spooky. It's got a great score. Anyway. All right, 4th, he's got a film that almost killed its director and lead actor. We had multiple. Apocalypse Now. That is Jason Bateman's favorite films. Wow,
all the classics. You can see how those films have like translated into Jason Bateman's work.
Yeah, you can. Like Black Rabbit,
and Arrested Development.
You can really. I'll say though,
Jason, is there any comedies on there at all?
Yeah, he had the King of Comedy on there.
Oh, okay.
But like you can really see how Jason Bateman looks much smarter compared with Chris Messina saying that Marley and Me is one of his favorite films. Yeah. Anyway,
I think Chris Messina just wants some rom-com work.
Yeah, he does. Chris Messina's got loads of rom-com work. That's all that Chris Messina's in.
I know.
He's messing around. Thank you so much. I can't think of anything else to discuss. I think we're done.
Yeah.
All the podcasters,
so you found the film pretty boring.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
We watched this in 2 parts where the two of us watched this together in our house, and then I went home to my parents' house and watched the second half, and I had a lot better time watching it at home my own parents' house.
That says a lot about me.
Which is interesting because I feel like the second part there is a bit of a drag.
Yes.
Because they are repeating. You know, at the beginning, there's like this novelty to the process, and you're learning a lot about how they work, and then you're just continuing to see them going through the weeds again. So they're kind of revisiting a lot.
Every criticism I have of this film, I would direct the exact same criticisms at Spotlight and Zodiac. I think they both have the same issues as this, where you're like going around in circles, going back talking to the same people, and at a certain point, it's like, I get it. Like, I know where this is going. It's only so exciting you can make this. Like, the Deep Throat stuff, at least, is kind of thrillery, intense. But, like, there's nothing. And Zodiac obviously has lots of tense stuff in it because there's a literal serial killer on the loose. But, like, Spotlight I find quite dull because it's like, I know where this is going. I understand the bad things that happened. And there's nothing this film is going to tell me that I don't already know.
The films about journalists, they just break a lot of rules of storytelling where it's like, there's a gazillion names.
Yes.
It's, like, super hard to follow. And, like, you either end up having to dumb it down, which makes some people angry.
Yes.
Or you don't, and then you lose everyone else.
Yes.
I do think it's kind of interesting sometimes when you're doing these journalist films and you rock up to someone's door to ask them a question, and some people are just like, oh, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, what? Oh, okay.
You know, a pretty good journalism film everyone's forgotten about is the movie She Said about the Harvey Weinstein investigation with Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazan. I thought that film was quite good. I actually think that's a better example. It's not a better film, but that's a better example of making that stuff seem lively. Because what that film does is it casts like really good recognizable actresses like Jennifer Ely and Samantha Morton as like the victims, and when they enter the film, they just take over the film for 10 minutes, and you get like a 10-minute really emotional scene of a woman giving testimony. And I think because that film has this backbone of like abuse of women in these situations with Weinstein, it just becomes a bit more emotionally involving to me. It's also women journalists. Maybe this just lacks a bit of
there's an inherent lack
femininity,
of diversity if in the 70s and who was doing politics at the time.
Spotlight has like the Rachel McAdams character, but I do think a journalistic investigation movie with female journalists is inherently more interesting to me. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody who voted for this film in the September 16. And rest in peace, Robert Redford, one of the greats.
We stand by our boys.
We stand by our boys. Thank you so much for joining us again, Michael. People can find your podcast, Norming.
Yes.
And you did anything journalism-y? I'm trying to think.
Times New Roman.
There you go. Very journalism-y. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Where can people find Norming? What's the URL?
Normie.ng.
Normie.ng. And Norming is a monthly podcast where Michael does 10-minute succinct episodes about norms.
Yes. It's currently on a slight hiatus while I am starting a new job.
Creating some new norms.
But I will absolutely come back to it.
Recent episodes: the QWERTY keyboard, recycling, voting, the Wayback Machine, the 5-day work week, Guinness. It's very fun. You never know what Michael's going to do next. So.
It's about as exciting as All the President's Men.
It's more
very
exciting
similar.
than All the President's Men. It's much more brief.
This is not 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
Exactly. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.